Hello, my name is Paul Murray from Team Obyte. I had the pleasure of speaking with John McAfee earlier, who kindly joined me for a chat. John is certainly one of the most interesting and best known people in the crypto space, and if you want to know more about him, I highly recommend reading his Wikipedia page, which is quite fascinating. John McAfee, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me on. I'm glad to be here.
I wanted to start by asking you why you think there are not more people like you, as in people in the crypto space that are famous for things they did prior to 2009 and not just for their involvement in crypto.
Whoa. No one's ever asked me that question before, and it's a good question. All right, let me see. The original players, we've got people like Dr. Adam Back, and they were developers and mathematicians, most of them. Whoa, that's a good question. I think that's a sign, by the way. I have no fucking clue why. I think that that's a sign that this new field of human endeavor, this tool given to us by a bunch of geeks, the original tool, which was more or less a breakthrough in ideas and computing ideology. And they gave it away for free. And so everybody has picked up on the Bitcoin blockchain and created new and truly fantastic blockchains in the alt currency world. Without the help of any outside agency. I mean, I'm an outside agency to the extent that I spent my life in technology, computer technology, and software engineering and computer architecture. But a sign that not only did this, I think, world-changing technology come from just ordinary people, but it's the only one that's come from ordinary people in the past 100 years. Everything else has come from the bowels of secret government programs or some giant in technology and industry like Samsung, Microsoft. But no, this came from the people. And the fact that we have been able to come so far with the thousands of tokens, most of them worthless, but among there some true jewels of technological innovation by ourselves, came from the people, given to the people, and the people have built upon those small beginnings and created possibilities that were heretofore not even imaginable. But why others didn't jump in? Why did I jump in? Because I saw the fascinating possibilities. And of course, the war to come, which we're already in. And that's the war between governments, financial institutions, regulatory bodies, and the people who developed and are using and trying to create a true and valid world economy that the people built rather than some overlord or king or the Fed.
Yeah, it's still surprising in that you would think that given how interesting the sector looks to, well, a lot of people, there's not more people, I guess, like yourself that already have, I guess, like public personas and are out there talking about it. I was actually thinking, I don't pay an awful lot of attention to mainstream media, but there's really not that many people like yourself. There's only literally a handful of people that personally I had heard of. So, yeah, I guess a relevant follow up to that is, I guess, on the behalf of crypto, thanks for existing.
Well, thank you for even noticing. I'm a lazy son of a bitch and an opportunist. Okay, so when in 2011, I think it was maybe 2010, a good friend of mine and a technologist showed me the white paper and told me what he was doing. In fact, when he said, "I'm mining," my mind goes, "What? What mining? I mean, have you lost your mind? I mean, you climbing the hills of California looking for gold or what? But he explained it, and I immediately saw, oh, Jesus God, this is going to change the world of technology, and it's going to turn it upside down. Well, see, I love a good show, and we're right now in the opening curtain phase of this show, and trust me, it'll be spectacular if we look at it with the right attitude. It's going to be a war between the powers that have existed for thousands of years in human society, and the people themselves, who for the first time were given a gift equivalent to the gift of fire from the Greek gods, or who the gods gave fire. And this, people, is what I want to watch, and I want to join in, and I want to do my thing, and fill the holes that I see no one else is filling. I mean, the McAfee decks. Why the fuck did I do that out of all the things I could be doing? Because I've been preaching for 3 years saying, people, someone's got to do this. If we don't have truly decentralized and truly distributed exchanges, we are going to be dead in the water when push comes to shove with world governments and world financial institutions. And so nobody did it. So fuck you, young people. I'm 74 years old. Why force me to do it? And yet, no one else is doing it. So I built one. We know nothing. We don't ask for names or emails. We don't hold money. We don't hold tokens. The logic is all in smart contracts on the blockchain. So it can't go away. Thank God. So what we've created there is always going to be there. We don't charge any listing fees. It's not like, go to Binance anywhere from $100 to $250,000, right? But to list, you push a button on the top of our exchange, and you put in the technical specs of the coin or token, and you're listed. You don't pay anybody anything. We don't charge any maker fees, and only 0.25% of taker fees, and that's just to try to fund development. And even then, we're going to lose our ass. Yet, someone had to do it, people. Something that can't be shut down like a centralized exchange. 2 years ago, China, I was scheduled to speak in Beijing. And we had to move to Hong Kong because China shut down every exchange in China overnight. Overnight. How'd they do it? Well, they knew their address. Right? They knew where the business was. They knew where the electricity was going. I mean, there are 1,000 ways to shut that down. But try to shut down this. Try shutting down the McAfee DEX. It's McAfeeDEX.com. Right now, it's worthless. Why? It's in beta. The only two chains we have is Ethereum and Tron. We're bringing in EOS, Neo, and Binance before the end of the year. And even then, it's not going to be worth anything until we get our cross-chain transaction capabilities. On that, people understand this, will be the equivalent of any centralized exchange, only 10 times cheaper, a lot faster, far less trouble. Nobody needs to know your name even. And if you're looking for an exit, instead of having to get out in dollars, I mean, we already support DAI, the most stable coin in the world. Never varies more than 1 penny from the dollar. So we even have within the distributed exchange a way to get into something safe until you feel the market's ready for playing with again. But someone had to do this, and I did. I think it's truly unfair of all you young pups out there that have a lot of energy and you're smart, forcing me to implement what I preach about. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm rambling. What's your next question?
Yeah, no, I was listening intently. Speaking of which, I did notice that you had mentioned recently.
I'm sorry.
I know you're right. Speaking of the McAfee DEX, I did notice that you mentioned on I think it was Twitter recently that I think there had been some contact from government authorities about McAfee DEX. I don't know if you were joking or that actually was true. So I thought I'd ask.
It's absolutely true, and I'm not going to say much about the details. However, why should an entrepreneur, someone who creates something, be forced by anyone to put something in his or her product that is going to be burdensome to all of your users simply for the sake of making it easier for those in power to collect and jail criminals? Please God, that's not my job. It can't be, because if it is, our society is turned on its head. What if I sold bicycles and the government said, oh, you got to put this homing device in there, which listens and watches everything, because what would happen if that bike got stolen? How are we going to find the criminal? But we need to watch all the time to make sure no criminal is trying to steal it. So we, of course, have to watch you, Mr. Citizen. We're in a surveillance state, my friends. And we've been in one for quite a while. And if anybody on this earth would know, wouldn't it be me? I mean, I'm certainly nowhere near what my quote legendary status is. That guy doesn't exist. That superhero certainly doesn't exist in me. I'm an ordinary dude. But I swear to God, I do know computer security. And its opposite, the attempt to get and gather information illegally or by force. And so I promise you people, you have no privacy anymore, none, and it will get worse if we do not take this cryptocurrency, this blockchain opportunity, and see it for what it is, which is a key to open our cages of financial slavery to this horrific system. Let ourselves out and let's build a slightly better world than the one that I came into, because that's the only goal at my age I can possibly have. And I've forgotten your question, my friend. Can you repeat it?
No, it's quite all right, because you
Janice is sitting next to me.
Yeah, you see, the difference is...
Well, hang on a second. Wait. Let me ask you a question here. All right. Do you remember the fucking question? No, you can't even hear it because I have headphones on. That's how stupid I am right now.
All right.
No.
Hello, Mrs. McAfee. I didn't realize you were there. Okay. Happy families. You actually led on to me. I know. I was actually going to say, John, the difference is when you give long answers, you like give interesting answers to questions, where I just go around in circles and don't really give an answer. So I wouldn't worry about that. What I was going to
just shut me up halfway through. Okay.
No, I'm actually listening. I'm making a point of actually. People are here to like listen to you, and really not me. So I'm trying to stay out of things. But okay. You did lead me in well into the other question I was going to ask, was that one of the things I think you also mentioned recently is that you believe one of the biggest weaknesses of Bitcoin is its lack of privacy. But given that Bitcoin is, it's so dominant today, it really seems that others don't really see this as a problem, or maybe they just don't realize that Bitcoin isn't private, so that might be the problem.
Okay, let me address that. First and foremost, Bitcoin does not always need to be private. I mean, if you have an asset and people know you have the asset and you transfer that asset into Bitcoin because you think it will be a store of value in this coming world of electronic currency, then fine, you don't need privacy. You don't need privacy if the only two people in the world who know the wallet addresses of the sender and receiver are you and the receiver or the sender. But even then, it can be tracked. Bitcoin is the equivalent of a plumber coming to fix your sink, and you write them a check, and they take that check to the bank and say, hi, Mr. McAfee, you just wrote me this check. So now that he wrote me this check, would you please tell me what his current balance is in his account? Well, that's nice. Well, would you also tell me what were the last checks that came in and who were they from and for how much? Well, that's interesting. Now, you would not be happy if your bank did that, would you? And yet this is what Bitcoin is, and Ethereum, and every ERC20 token. And that's not a problem. What's a problem is if you do something financially, and it's your right, by the way, if you earned your money in any respectable fashion, then it is your right to spend it as you please. Is it not? I mean, you worked hard for it. Right now, the government says, yes, well, the only part that's yours is the part that we don't take. And right now, we're only taking 25%, so shut the fuck up. But it's your money. And as a sovereign individual, who do you have an obligation to tell about what you do with it? I mean, if you're not living with your parents, if you're not married, or if your spouse says it's okay to keep those monetary secrets, then fuck me, nobody has the right to know. You worked and sweat in some way, shape, or form to make it, and now it's yours. So Bitcoin's not available for these transactions, whatever they may be. Buying drugs, paying off an ex-girlfriend who has one of your babies, sending money to your brother in St. Louis who does not have a job, and you don't want anybody to know that he is now a derelict. Whatever, it's your fucking money, it's your fucking privacy. If you want that in cryptocurrency, you have to go with a privacy coin and a distributed exchange. You have to. Because you do one without the other, you're still lost. I mean, if you're using Monero, the most popular of the privacy coins, and still, I hope, haven't checked recently, in the top 10 of all the coins, if you use Monero, they don't know who you are. They don't know what the transaction is about, or what the amount is, or even the exact fucking date. And nothing. Now, however, if you're using a centralized exchange, well, that privacy is gone. Because for the centralized exchange, you probably had to identify your true self. Yes, I'm John Smith. Here's my driver's license. Or, yes, I'm Edmund Hillary, and here's my passport, or something. And even though they may not know what the transaction was, they will see things going into and out of your Monero wallet, which is all they fucking need. So to get true privacy, you've got to have a privacy coin and a distributed exchange that does not require you to fucking identify yourself. We don't take email addresses. We take nothing, and we know nothing. It's just all we do is we're a window into the exchange logic, which we coded as smart contracts on the blockchains, which can't be changed. Can't be changed. And this is it. Your privacy, your security, your financial life. Good God, people, you have it now. Just pick it up and take it. Don't be afraid.
Yeah, speaking of privacy coins, probably a bit of a long shot, but have you heard of or tried Obyte, which are the privacy coin of the Obyte platform?
You know, I have not. I'll be really frank with you.
Yeah. That was a long shot.
For the past 6 months, I've been spending 18 hours a day on the McAfee decks. It is not a trivial project.
Yeah,
I sure wish it were. If it were, I could delegate everything and go back to sleep. So it's not a trivial project, and I've been spending way more time than I'd anticipated. And as a result, what has suffered is my knowledge of current affairs in the blockchain/crypto world. So no, I apologize. I have not heard of it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I thought that'd be the case. I guess the interesting part of Obyte is that, I mean, I'm no expert on any of this, to be honest, but most privacy coins, they operate in some form of hiding the transactions or masking the transactions some way on the blockchain, whereas black bytes, they actually exist as digital files. So it's like the full transaction history isn't even on the blockchain. It's actually
yes, and there are a couple of honestly 3 or 4 companies doing the same thing. I mean, there are companies, for example, that will. It's like putting your transaction into a blender and blending it. Okay, and then the other side magically figures out which parts go where. And these are good. Listen, I'm for anything that aids our liberation from the slavery of this overburdened surveillance state that we live in. And if we can free ourselves from surveillance of our finances, understand that power. If we free that, then we free everything, because it is through finances we are controlled. It is through the US dollar or the Japanese yen or the British pound that we are slaves to. The people in control, the Fed, the central banks, whoever, can increase the supply, decrease the supply, monitor what you're doing, so that your hard-earned money could be wiped out overnight by a flick of somebody's ballpoint pen, signing let's increase the money supply by a factor of 10, which will decrease the value of what you've earned, my friend, by a factor of 10. They have that power, and if you think that they would never exercise it, then you don't know history. You don't know history.
Yeah, that leads on to actually something else Obyte related, which would be the final part, because it's more about yourself than Obyte. But at Obyte, there is a slightly different idea in that kind of one of the premises is, or the ideas is that we're going to need to build like more bridges to the current world in order to get crypto adoption, rather than kind of going from not having crypto adoption to having it.
Yes, and this is our problem. I mean, good God, people, if we would stop looking at the price of Bitcoin or how we can make a quick buck by somebody pumping this or that token, instead of doing that all the time, use these fucking tokens. You can buy anything. I mean, anything with DAI, for example, almost anything with Ethereum, almost anything with Bitcoin, Monero, and dozens of others. So please God, while you're playing around in the market trying to get rich quick, and good luck with that, by the way. I've never seen it happen in my 74 years, but who knows? In any case, instead of that, spend it, sell shit, and take crypto in exchange. It's tiny. I don't care what it is. Start some internet store selling T-shirts, advertising your favorite fetish, whether it's raising rabbits or playing golf. I don't fucking know, but do something like that. Because whatever it is, there are others in the world who like it and only accept crypto. Think about it. You go, God, I'd love to buy that, but they don't accept anything but crypto. Let's reverse the world of today, where it's, God, I'd love to buy that with crypto, but they don't accept crypto. No, let's make fiat currency the one which nobody fucking wants.
Okay. Yeah, you recently ran a competition with the winning prize being the opportunity to spend a day with you.
Yes.
What do you think you and the winner will be doing for that day?
I'm not sure. I'll let the person who will be experiencing that day, whether that experience is positive or negative, I have no clue, but we'll let that person actually describe the experience for you. How is that?
Okay, cool. Watch this space, I guess.
I'm sorry?
Watch this space is the answer. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, John, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you today. I'm not just saying that because I meant to say that, it actually has. Yeah, thanks for joining us.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, John. Take care.
So that was John McAfee.
And on behalf of everyone in the Obyte community, I would like to thank him again for coming on the show. If you'd like to know more about John, I suggest following him on Twitter at official McAfee, or like I said in the introduction, his Wikipedia page is a quite fascinating read.